last week I was with a very special guest, Lady Patrice Headen. We talked about transitions, her transitions from being a single woman to being engaged to a prophet, to the man of her dream, and living the fairy tale life with a brand new baby, and then sickness takes place in her home and in her marriage. And she finds herself suddenly, she's a widow at 33 and suffering depression. We're going to talk about the balance of that in this transition session tonight. So let's talk. Patrice, 33, a widow, beautiful baby girl who's asking for a father, and you're suffering depression. Let's talk about it. Depression is so real. I just went through about almost 6.5 years with my husband. Almost the length. I think he was going through it before your husband died. But it was very private. We weren't telling anybody what he was going through, but it got even worse after Prophet Headen died. Let's talk about depression because it's very real.
Absolutely. And I think we as an African American community, we sweep it under the rug and we say, oh, don't go to therapy. You know, you crazy if you go to therapy. No, you're not.
Yeah, you're not. You're crazy if you don't go.
Right. And at the end of the day, you know, everyone says, oh, you just got to go and pray it away. Well, you know, God told me to go see somebody. And that's what I'm going to do. But at the time, I was going to a therapist, and she was a Christian therapist. So, you know, not wanting to disrespect her, I could not share my real feelings. And, you know, all she kept telling me was, it's in God's will, it's in God's will. Okay, this is not going to work.
No, it's in God's will, but I need you to let me talk it out.
Yeah, this is not going to work. So I then began self-medicating. I self-medicated with alcohol. Now, mind you, in my college years, I was an alcoholic. So, you know, I knew what was going to happen. So I knew how much to do and how much not to do. So I felt myself getting to that degree where, okay, I'm feeling like physical harm. So let me stop with the alcohol.
Wow.
So I went from alcohol to wine. Then I became a wino. And
because you're looking for anything that's going to ease that pain. The pain is so overwhelming.
Yes.
Let me find something that is going to take away my pain. And that's one of the tricks of the enemy, because he knows that the substance or the self-medication is not really going to take away the pain, but that's his hook, that's his trapping, and that's what he wanted to get you trapped, right there in depression and right there in addiction.
And then it went from the addiction to, you know, wine to food. I gained, oh my God, I was big. I gained probably about 50 to 60 pounds after my husband passed.
Wow.
And unbeknownst to some people, I was pregnant. Wow. I lost the baby 2 weeks after we buried him.
Wow. Now this is my first time hearing that. Wow. Wow.
So, now that's one thing that I said, God didn't know best.
Because that would have been a hard pill to swallow.
I would have given birth in May. But yeah, we had just found out. We had played a practical joke on my mom, and a week later we found out that the practical joke was real.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And I believe that would have been
I think so.
So I'm dealing with the fact that I haven't talked to anybody about that. And, you know, I went through that by myself, and it happened. Actually, no, I did talk to one person. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, was downstairs, and she was listening to the conversation. And she came upstairs, and she was so angry with me because I didn't tell her. And I'm just like, well, you know, you were dealing with enough as is, you know. And
because she went through it.
She did. She went through a cutting spirit, a cutting spell, where she was self-injuring herself. She was cutting her legs.
Not knowing how to deal with the trauma and the emotion of losing what was pretty much the only father she had known.
So that still wasn't working. But I'm still functioning, still going to work. I'm putting on pounds and pounds of makeup and wearing lots and lots of weave to make sure that you just focus on the outer and you don't get to see what's really going on. Even to the point where I was pulling away from auxiliaries at ministry. I'm getting in trouble because I'm not showing because I didn't show up. But sometimes I didn't show up because either my hangover was so bad that I couldn't make it, or I just could not deal with the sight of people. It was so bad that the summer that every summer my kids go to their grandparents. Thank the Lord for grandparents. And this particular summer, we're coming up on the 2nd anniversary of Harrison's death. The kids were gone, both of them. And again, I say I work in mental health. So I know trigger words, I know what to stay away from, what not to say to alarm anybody. Well, it was the day that he passed. And I was super angry. I was pissed off. I was mad. I was angry. Because one, I felt like nobody acknowledged that he died today. Like, nobody acknowledged that. Like, are you serious? Nobody called. Are you okay? And like, it's only been 2 years now. No, like, this is not right. And I'm mad. I'm just really, really mad. And I've asked God from the time he left, the time he passed, why? If you can just tell me why, I'll be all right. Just tell me why. And that particular night, I was done. I was like, you know what? We're just going to make this easy. Azzy will be taken care of because I worked and my husband worked, so she going to be financially okay. You know, parents going to take care of them. Asia's old enough that, you know, she'll be okay. I've been there through most of the events. She'll be okay.
Isn't it amazing how much wisdom you had in that hour where you were so emotionally sick? How the enemy will give you his crazy wisdom to make you have it all planned out.
I had written down all of my passcodes to everything, accounts and all of that stuff. I had written it on the other side of the couch, and I texted everybody, and I just said, love y'all. You know, I'm like, okay, they know that it's his anniversary, but if I say I love you, they won't know what's going to happen, but at least they know they heard from me. And I'm arguing with God, or at least it was really a one-sided conversation. I'm arguing and he's just listening to me. And I kept saying, well, you know, God, tell me why. If you don't tell me why, I'm going to do this. If you don't tell me why, I'm going to do this. And still, I'm listening. I don't hear anything. Well, I had my phone on, and we had a sectional in my TV room. And I'm sitting at the close end of the sectional where the chase is. And I'm looking at some of his videos on YouTube, and, you know, I'm crying, and I'm just like, why? And I put my phone down, and I said, okay, this is what it's going to be. Cool. I know that if I commit suicide, I'm not going to make it to heaven.
Can I ask you a question? How much time were you spending alone
at
that time?
What, during the summer or just in general?
In general, but mostly, I guess that summer, the kids were away.
Oh, the entire time I was by myself. I was completely alone. I would go to work and I would come home.
And listening to a voice of you, your sadness, your depression, the voice of the enemy, and drowning out the voice of the Holy Spirit. And that's the ideal place that the enemy wants us. Because if he can get us right there, and we can hear only his voice, and that voice of hopelessness from the spirit of depression, he can almost get you to do whatever he wants you to do.
Because it started in June. June was Father's Day. Then his birthday was the 21st. And then it was my birthday. And then it was the anniversary of that. So it had been building up since Father's Day. It just kept going and going and going. And so I looked at my phone and I was like, okay, cool. So I put my phone down and I'm like, so this is what's going to happen. I can't go directly to the temple because I'm going to die instantly. I need at least 3 seconds to say, Lord, forgive me, so I won't bust head.
Oh, you had that plan.
I did. So I'm crying. I'm like, Lord, just give me time to say I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to go to hell, but I can't deal with this anymore. Like, I can't function. And I had took the gun. And it was actually the gun that he had given me because at that time he was traveling a whole lot, so he wanted me to be safe at home with the baby. So I took the gun, I pulled the trigger back, and I put it to my head, and I closed my eyes, and I'm crying, and I'm mad. And I go to pull the trigger, and my phone went off and said, you should live and not die. I moved my head, the gun went off. There's literally a bullet hole still in my couch, and the house that I was in, the bullet was still in the floor.
Wow.
So, and I was like, okay. And I put the phone down. I put the gun down, and like.
So a text comes in and it says.
No, it wasn't a text. It was actually a YouTube video.
Wow.
It was a YouTube video of Dorinda.
Wow.
Dorinda Clark-Cole, and she said you should live and not die. And actually, it was an old video of her testifying when she tried to commit suicide.
Oh my God.
She was telling what God had said to her before she ran off the bridge. And I put the phone down, and he said, and at that time I did hear his voice, and he said, faith is what's going to bring you in. And at that,
is that the turning point?
That was the turning point for me, because I think what people didn't realize, and they still don't realize, because I still struggle with that, is when I met people, oh, this is Prophet Headen's wife. This is Pastor Headen's wife. This is Prophet Headen's wife. It's not, this is Patrice Headen.
So your identity was tied up in him.
That's all I was, you know. And when that left,
who am I?
Who
what
am
is
I?
my purpose? Why am I still here? I know I got this beautiful baby. I know I got this beautiful teenage girl. But who am I?
I literally had to. I was trying to find myself, I guess, during that time period, and I couldn't find myself. I knew I didn't want to be the old Patrice that I was prior to meeting him, and I can't be this Patrice now, this lady Patrice. I can't be that because people said that she died when he died. So, who am I? Like, I don't know who I am. What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be here for? Like, I didn't know any of that. And I struggled with that really, really hard. Every now and then, I tend to struggle with it, but not as much because I'll, you know, look in the mirror like, okay, there you go. Okay. And bring it back in. But I still do have my moments, especially when I run into people who, you know, knew him and, oh, you Prophet Headen's wife.
I'm more than Prophet Headen's wife. How awesome is God that when the phone goes off and the Dorinda Clark-Cole is there and she's giving her testimony. How awesome is it that God was linking up and hooking up
That's great.
the next phase of Patrice. So that night was the wake-up call that God gave you. It was the answer. It was the answer to your why. Now, it didn't come as clear maybe as you wanted it to be, like, why, okay, I took Prophet Headen home because da-da-da-da-da-da. But it was the answer to your why because that call or that video was from Dorinda Clark-Cole, and she was saying, I will live and not die. And God was saying, I have a plan for your life. And it started your healing process. And it put you on the right track that one day you would be, your purpose would be connected to the person that was in the video. So you start your healing process. What's next after that night?
After that night, I actually no, my family didn't find out about that night until I did the conference. And I began to, like I said, dive into faith-based, sermons and scriptures, and
just digging deeper in the Lord.
Just focusing on my faith and forgiving myself.
Yeah.
And this sounds crazy, but forgiving God. That sounds crazy. Like, I can't forgive him, but I was mad. Like, I was a little pissed off. So forgiving him, and
that's the wonderful thing about God.
Right.
He allows us to get mad at him. And if we could ever look at God like a heavenly Father, like a real father figure, then we would understand that he understands that there are going to be times when we're going to be disappointed with him, in him, mad at him, question him, want to quit him, because that's how it is with a natural father. With a natural father, you get mad from time to time, and you just don't want to talk to your daddy. Sometimes you just want him out of your life. But that's how God is, and that was okay, and that was part of the healing.
And at that point in time, I had reached out to my sister in Atlanta, Georgia, my god sister, and I told her, I said, listen, nobody knows what's going on with me, so nobody's going to understand this. I said, but prior to Harrison passing, this is what I was supposed to do, and I want to do it now. I think I need that to make some closure. I can say that I did the last thing that he was pushing me into doing. She was like, well, okay, but why are you calling me? I was like, Michelle, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm calling you. And I had came in, I talked with you about it, and again, at that time, nobody in my circle knew anything that was going on. And when I finally told you what was going on, you were you were quite upset.
Wow.
And my excuse, well, Pastor, it doesn't matter. So, but even still, was very supportive and trying to tell me which ways to go. And the speaker, ironically, I reached out to her, and she came and she did our Contending for Faith conference, and it was, I did not know on that day that she would say, I want to mentor you.
It's a great connection. See, God is always linking up and always connecting, because the night that you attempted to take your life, it was her voice that God used to tell you that you would live and not die, because it was her voice that God was going to connect you to help you discover who Patrice really was and who she really is. So go ahead, continue on.
And after that, she did. She really took me up underneath her wing, and it was very much overwhelming because of who she was, and me not even knowing who I am. In my eyesight, a nobody, it was very overwhelming. And we were talking, like, she really brought me into her circle to a point that I saw things that other people didn't get a chance to see, being in her home, being invited into her home, being brought into, her family circle and unit. I'm just like, what in the world? Wow. And then starting to work on some designs for her.
So, which leads us back to the initial prophecy. When you first met your husband, and he prophesies to you, and you think, okay, you missed it, buddy. You missed it, buddy. You just talking out the side of your neck. You are so off with this. But now, you're starting to see that what he said is actually in full manifestation.
And it started off with it was actually just a little, let's see if she likes this. So I had contacted LaShanta, and I was like, well, here's my idea. Can you help me work it together? And she did, and it went from a t-shirt to several T-shirts
Mhm.
to logos to
And
yes,
Lashanta is Next Level Graphics,
yes,
right?
next level
Okay.
graphics. And
Go there.
it was yeah, it went from me just working to stuff to now, well, Patrice, you and D are over products and
Mhm.
and traveling with her and vending with her and coming up with different products for the different seasons. And it's
That's
just
the
like,
fashion and the design part of that
and
process.
then having my daughter to help with her clothing line. She's designed some things for her clothing line, and it's been a little
Overwhelming,
yes,
to say the least.
very overwhelming, very overwhelming, and just being able to meet people that you would never thought that you would meet, and meeting her
Again,
sister.
part of that prophecy.
Yes, yes, meeting her sisters, interacting with them, like a literal extended family. Then you have people who I know you. Who? Huh? I don't know.
Now
you.
everybody wants to. Now you're not just Prophet Headen's wife anymore.
Right.
Now you're Patrice.
Right. Now now I'm somebody important. Yes. But it made me, I guess, look at myself and be like, okay, maybe you do have some kind of purpose. Maybe you do have some kind of meaning of life. And, to hear her say, oh, Patrice, I could just put this in your hands and I know you're going to handle it. I was like, well, I can't take all the credit because, you're always telling people about the tutelage that you get, but I was in the tutelage of celebrating occasions, Pastor Linda Grady. I said, so I can't take credit for everything, So, I'm at a point now where I still have moments. It's going on 5 years. I still wear my wedding ring, but I wear it on my other hand. I have not started dating.
You're still married in your heart.
Yeah, I've not started dating.
But guys are interested, right?
Yes. Well, I lost about 80 pounds, so I look cute now.
She looks real cute. But she was cute before. And chunky and all. Chunky and all, still cute.
But I have no interest and desire to date. I feel like I'm cheating on my husband if I did. Unlike, and I hate for people to say, oh, man, death is like a divorce. No, it's not. Because you're divorced, but you can go and call them.
Exactly.
You can go and see them. You can try to make it work again. It is done for me. And I am very funny about my last name. I hate for anybody to call me Wooten. I worked really hard for Headen. I worked really hard for that last name.
You gonna call me?
Yeah, I worked really, really hard for that last name. But I truly...
So, in your heart, you're still married. And one of the reasons why you haven't taken off the ring, and even when men have shown an interest, just not interested. At some point, do you think there will come a time where you will feel that it's okay to move forward? I believe if Prophet Headen was here today, if he could have that conversation with you, knowing my son, I believe that he would say, Patrice, I want you to live, and I want you to be happy. Now, I totally understand having a daughter, a young teenage, what is age now? She is like 19 years old, and then as a young girl, I understand not wanting to have men around them. I understand that. But at some point, if it is the Lord's will for you, and I believe that if Prophet Headen was here, Harrison was here, or had an opportunity to say to you, Patrice, I want you to live, I want you to enjoy your life, would that be the closure that you need?
It would definitely have to be God's will. Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
My husband, I felt loved. I never questioned anything. I was happy. He made me laugh. He was beyond what I wanted. So it would have to be God. It would have to be Him. But if it is in His will, I think He'll heal my heart enough. Like I have no desires for anybody right now, despite what people might think. I don't. I mean, it might seem like 5 years to other people, but it just seems like yesterday to me.
Yeah.
I really and truly, like, I didn't love Him. I was in love with Him. He gave me the true definition of intimacy. Intimacy. Like, He saw something in me.
He saw you.
That nobody else did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I respect that. And I respect that you were open to God's intervention. And I believe that is so much wisdom there, because you don't want to be pushed into something because other people are saying, oh, go ahead and do it, da, 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 da. And then you don't want to be pushed into something because every now and then you may feel a little lonely. That's not the reason to get involved in a relationship. Relationships are too important to get involved in that. We're going to take a little commercial break and we'll be right back. We're coming back and we're going to complete this talk about transitions with Lady Patrice Headen. And I just know that there are some of you, you're out there and you're thinking, my God, what a testimony and how the Lord has brought her through. But I'm going to let her speak to you and give you a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of insight. So Patrice, let's talk. You got through it. It was hard. People didn't understand. You didn't understand. But not only did God save you that night when you thought suicide was the only option out of your pain, but He brought your purpose wrapped in a video that night. And you would step into a new phase of who Patrice is, and you would discover who she is, and you like her.
I did.
You like her. And not only did you discover who Patrice is, but you fell in love with Patrice. You fell in love with the new assignment and the healing, even though it's still a progressive healing. It's taking place. You're looking good. Men are hollering at you and all of that, and you still ain't got time for that. You're about your Father's business and the healing process. Tell me just a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk to a whole bunch of ladies that's going to need that wisdom.
I think it's just a few key things that stick out with his passing. Everybody wants to tell you things that'll make you feel good, and there was nothing that nobody could tell me that would make me feel good. But it was two things that were said. One right before the viewing of his body, and one at his funeral. My godmother had told me, she said, Patrice, no perfect person can live in an imperfect world. So at that point in his life, he had reached perfection. So God had to take him before he was corrupted. That gave me a little warm fuzzy, okay. Like out of all the words that people said to me, that made me feel okay. And then at his funeral, in Bishop's eulogy, he was so transparent that day. It was crazy. But he said that he went to the window and he wanted all the blinds closed because he didn't want to see the sun. He wanted to be in the darkness because he didn't know how he was going to deal with this. But when he opened the blinds, it was nothing but sun. So he knew the sun was going to shine again. That gave me a little bit of hope. And this past year, my oldest daughter graduated from high school, and Azzy graduated from kindergarten. No, from pre-K.
Pre-K, yeah.
Pre-K to go to kindergarten. And one, I was thankful to God that I was able to see all those milestone moments. But at that point, something clicked. They all graduated, you know, important parts of their life.
Wow.
And as we're traveling on this heavenly road, on this earthly road to get to heaven, our ultimate job is to graduate earth and make it to heaven.
Wow.
So,
what an analogy.
Right. So if God can complete his course in 33 years, you can do yours in 42. Life really has no time span. It's purpose and destiny. He stated that he wanted to die empty, which he did. He couldn't minister to the people. And he was smarter than some of us because he graduated ahead of his class. You know, so you graduated to that place in life where we're all trying to get to. And that's when, I'm not going to necessarily say I got closure, but I got okay. You know what? God, you didn't just abruptly take him. He earned his degree.
Wow. Wow. And so now, progressive healing. Feeling good about yourself. Step in your purpose. God's doing a wonderful thing with your daughter. She's doing wonderful at A&T. Azzy is amazing.
She is.
And so much just like her father, right?
Looks like him, walks like him, talks like him. I mean, sometimes she'll say some things like, my grandmother, who was dealing with an illness that we were claiming victory over, she called her the other day, and my grandma was having a really bad day and was really, really off. And she says, Grandma, what's wrong? She says, nothing. You don't sound like yourself. You need to be honest with me. We're going to pray about it.
Wow. And that sounds like her father.
I said, oh my God. So after she got off the phone, I went in the bathroom and I said, Mom, Azzy has no idea what Grandma's dealing with today. Nothing, but she could tell just in her conversation that something was wrong.
Wow.
And, you know, she has her little moments with me where she doesn't like what I'm going to say. I'm going in my room and talk to my daddy and tell him about you. I'm like, oh, okay. My daddy paid the bills here. Oh, okay. Alrighty then. Now, if he comes to see about me,
okay, that's what
then we got a problem. But, you know, she knows who he was, what he was, and the importance that he had, you know, in the earth and in her life. And, you know, that's my biggest, you know, goal right now is for her to understand, you know, that your daddy was not deadbeat. He was, you know, he loved you. He, you know, took care of his family. He, you know, you were the most important thing to him. So that's where we are.
Patrice,
Yes, ma'am.
Lady Headen, there is some people watching or will watch this video eventually, and they've lived their life single, found the man of their dream, started a life, and everything's going wonderful. And now they've suffered a loss, whether it be divorce, whether it be separation, whether it be death. And they're watching this video and they're watching you and saying, oh God, I don't know how she made it through, but she did. And I need help right now. I'm self-medicating, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm hurt. How do I make it out of this? I want you to look in that camera. And I want you to talk to the young girl, the older woman, the man even, that is having a hard time getting through their season of transition. And I want you to offer them some hope.
I guess at the end of the day, don't forget your foundation. Despite how we feel emotionally and mentally and physically, God is our ultimate comforter and our ultimate keeper. Regardless of how angry we get at him, to be honest with you, he knows you're angry, so just tell him, get it out, let it out. Don't let people put you in a box in a time frame of when you should be over it, because if you don't go through the proper channels of grieving and dealing with your emotions, it's going to kill you from the inside. And focus on the memories. Good, bad, and indifferent. Focus on the memories. Social media is so important, to the world. Let the world know who that person was to you and how much you meant to them, regardless of what people say. That's all I see on your timeline. Okay, that's fine. I need this for my healing. Don't forget what they were to you, who they were to you. And at the end of the day, you really, despite how you feel, God didn't do it to you, but He can pull you through it. And that's how you're going to, function. That's how you're going to make it through, is depending on Him. And sometimes when you don't know what to say, you just cry and He hears you. And He's going to comfort you, and He's going to eventually pull you through it. And He did not put us on this earth for nothing. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a calling. No, it might not be in the pulpit. It might not be, on the choir stand. You might just be a greeter at the door. But your greeting could brighten up the next person's day. So everybody has purpose, regardless of how we feel. We all have some kind of purpose in this world, or we wouldn't be here. So don't get so lost that you can't find yourself. And getting help is okay. Getting help is okay.
You heard it. Getting help is okay. You don't have to stay in that place where you feel like you're all alone, because you're not. You're never alone. God's always got somebody out there with a testimony that you can glean from, with a message for you, and you don't have to stay where you are. There's nothing wrong with getting help. She talked about her depression behind the loss of her husband. Weeks ago, I talked about the depression of my husband, and even when he went through the depression, I didn't even realize I was depressed myself. She talked about putting on weight. I put on 30 pounds. And don't stay stuck there. Get the help that you need. Grief is a real thing. And don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't grieve. There's a process to grieving. And there's a time and a season where it becomes complete. And so tonight she has shared her heart, and I'm just going to say this. If you're out there and you want to talk more about this, we are the Potter's House Ministries. My church is the Potter's House Ministries. I pastor there. I've been pastoring now for 23 years. And you can always reach out to our church, Potter's House Ministries of North Carolina Incorporated. You can look us up. You can Google us. But we are always there to help. Patrice, this has been so amazing. I love your candidness tonight. You touched a lot of lives. You helped a lot of people. I know that there are a lot of single women, a lot of widows, young widows out there that didn't know how they was going to make it, but because of your testimony tonight, I believe that they're going to be okay. And thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
So what's next for Patrice? She stepped into her purpose. What's next for Patrice?
Well, honestly, I'm planning on going back to school.
Wow.
To get my
awesome.
MD in psychiatry.
Wonderful.
I am sick of residential.
Wonderful.
I just want to pass out meds now. But I'm going back to school for psychiatry. And I'm just hoping that my other venture, Dr. Cole, just continues to go in the direction that it's going in. It's definitely, it's an amazing ride. It it's fun, but it's work.
It's work.
It's really work.
I mean, no matter how much fun it is, it's always work. If it's going to work, it's going to be work.
It's work.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say that my training on the events team and the standards that you have for the events team or just any ministry that is worked on at the Potter's House has definitely prepared me for that.
Wow.
Because she
That's
has
awesome.
standards that if I wasn't trained and prepared for, I would probably fail.
Yeah. Wow.
And I could even say the pre-start of assisting you, that training that I got with you and Elder Tanya, that definitely held out because you got to know how to carry yourself.
Yeah.
When you're behind closed doors with other people, you're to be seen and not heard sometimes. So all of that comes into play. So, you know, everything is a teachable moment.
That's my motto.
Everything is a teachable moment. I don't think people realize it, but yeah, everything is a teachable moment.
Well, you know something? I am super duper proud of you. I watched you come through this whole process, and I know how painful it was for you. And so to see you coming up on the other side of it, and actually in a position now where you can help someone that is going through what you've gone through. And I promise you, I'm proud of you. I remember one of our conversations earlier after the passing of Harrison, that I said one day, we don't understand it now, but God is absolutely going to use you to help somebody that is going through the same thing that you've gone through. And we don't know who's watching. We don't know who this is. Same way Dorinda just popped up on that video. We don't know what this is going to pop up and for who. But God is going to use you to help. And this is just the beginning. I am super proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Keep excelling. Go ahead and become that doctor. We'll be calling you Dr. Patrice Headen, Lady Doctor, whoever we're going to call you. But I am super proud of you. Nothing but greatness await you. And I can't wait to see the second part of your journey. Thank you so much for being on my show. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a blessing. I'm telling you, if you're out there and you're suffering because of a loss, if the transitions in your life has been overwhelming, please, please, please don't forget that we are here to help. We are here to help. This is what this video is all about. This is what the show is all about. Please, you can always reach out to the Potter's House Ministries of North Carolina and get the help that you need, and we will be there in your corner. We love all of you. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to continue to watch wonderful episodes like this, life-changing episodes to help you through the transitions of your life, I need you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, and we will keep bringing it to you every week. We love you. You guys have a happy, happy evening. God bless. Bye-bye.